It has been a long week, y'all, but it's finally Saturday, and you know what that means. It means it's time for some choice Valorant gameplay here at the Corporate Esports Association. Welcome back, everybody. It's the last week of the regular season, Moxie. Today, we get to figure out who has a chance to advance. Our match today features LigerTake from IBM and Bazooka from Roblox. Both these teams in the qualification bracket, in the qualification group, both 1-1. This game has quite some high stakes.
Yeah, and you know what? It's no surprises to anyone. We're off to Bind. I know you love this map, Paul. It's just your favorite one of them all, isn't it?
Play Split, you cowards. Why is nobody playing Split? No, but Bind is a very normal choice, right? It's very typical of Valorant in general. Everybody seems to like Bind except me. But I am the outlier there. It is a very straightforward map outside of those teleporters where, you know, some people can get creative.
I mean, get creative is a shorter way of describing some of the strategies that we've seen involved with those teleporters and the absolute wild goose chases that you can go through from point A to point B to back to point A to back to point B, and surprise, it was a point A plan all along. And there's a reason that we're still talking, Paul. It's because we're going to be getting into the game in just a minute, but it will be during the pistol round. We're not going to get a chance to see the beginning of that one, or even the agents that get locked in until the action is upon us, unfortunately down to a little bit of an observer bug that has been in the game. But it being Bind, we can have a good idea of what agents are going to be coming up in the composition. Obviously, you want to have that information, even though the Cypher nerf did come through, even though all of that utility will go away on his death. When he's alive, he's still just too invaluable to go without.
And I mean, realistically, the Cypher nerf just means that you're going to see probably less of a lurking Cypher, less of a forward position Cypher on the defense as well, right? Cypher, still a very powerful agent. I mean, any agent that has a camera in any tactical FPS is going to be very good because a camera just presents an absurd amount of information to your team. The trap wires, the Cypher cages, or cyber cages rather, just are icing on the cake at that point. Killjoy also receiving a little bit of a tweak this patch. Some people have called it a nerf, some people have called it a buff. Realistically, it's just more of a change to her playstyle, rebalancing all in all.
I think it's making it fair, isn't it? We've all been up against those Killjoys that on places like INTC just dump their turret, dump their nanoswarms, and then yeet themselves over to the other side of the map and get to activate them, even though they're absolutely nowhere in sight. So it is absolutely a tweak to how you're going to be playing her. You are going to be a lot closer to your kit, but that also means she's still going to be pretty strong, especially on the attack as well, with that turret deployment getting a little bit of a decrease in time, as we're actually getting to see Bind starting to load up now. Phoenix.
Oh, and we haven't missed anything.
We haven't missed anything, but Paul, we've got a Sage.
Oh, Moxie, I can physically hear your smile growing.
I don't know if it's going to be growing or groaning. It will be a defensive Sage on the first card, and that means that you do have a lot of utility, that wall and slow orbs, to try and shut down these rush pushes coming out from LigerTake, who will be on the attack, but they're going in with a very aggressive composition. The Phoenix and the Jet and the Omen. A lot of initiating agents.
I think there's been a bit of a lobby issue. It seems like we might be restarting the lobby here. I'm not sure. The first round actually seemed to not play out at all there. Everybody was standing still. So I think conjecture here. I think what happened was our observer crashed due to the bug that Moxie was talking about earlier. And the teams didn't want us to miss the pistol round. So they just held firm. They just stared down each other from across the map. And we're going to go into Bind again here. It's going to be slightly different this time around because hopefully we'll actually get some action. And hopefully this bug won't persist as an issue, as it is a little bit up in the air right now. But one of the other things while we're just filling time, Moxie, we can talk about is the changes to not only Breach but flashes just in general.
So it's not them being a nice
Yeah,
team.
we are getting
pull. It's just that the lobby had
confirmation.
been made with the wrong settings. But no, Breach has
Okay.
got a little bit of a buff. His flashes are going to last a little bit longer. The only difference is that rolling thunder, it's now going to actually come out, I believe it's 8 meters away from him. So if you're being pressured down, as we see some players, in particular the Sova variety, when you're being pressured down, you have access to your ultimate to try and do a quick 360 and turn on whoever is going up against you. As we are going to see Zunga back again on the defensive stage. Pistols will be coming out. Valorant game has indeed started, Paul. And so if you're LigerTake, this all comes down to hitting the place that the stage isn't. You want to go in fast, you don't want to get slowed down by either a wall or an orb.
And we are into the game. Everything is fine. No crashes this time around. Our observers in, the teams are in, and all the settings are correct. So let's get this Valorant going. Cypher, notably absent from Bazooka's composition right now. They have gone for that Sage instead. A Brimstone as well from Lemonade there. So very much playing against what we would consider the norms here is the defending team of of Bazooka.
LigerTake going to be trying to establish a little bit of control in hooker. Half the team pushing in as the rest of them go through gardens.
That arrow is going to reveal that one player is waiting toward the back of the site. Lemonade taking a very dicey engagement there, long distance, and that wall is not going to accomplish much from Zunga there. Site control will go over to the attacking team of LigerTake. Some nice spam through the smoke there, just keeping the Omen pressured. There is one flank coming in from Hookah. You can see it on the minimap right now. And with that paranoia coming out, backside control goes over to the retaking team. Not very convincing, though, as the swing back out from LigerTake. Very potent in that round. Split defense here a little bit coming out of Hookah and through elbow. Does manage to actually get onto the site and collapse onto the player waiting in the box, but still 2 players to try and remove from Garden and Long. Fake him the defuse. Gonna bait one out, but Fancy will take him down. First round goes to LigerTake.
Bazooka running the Sage, it could have worked if it had the wall on the retake. Because then you could have walled off the spike and allowed Uber Good to actually get in on that Reyna and go for the defuse. And everyone on LigerTake who was standing in gardens wouldn't be able to do anything about it. But Zunga uses the wall, anticipating an A push. And very similar to how we see a lot of Sages, the second you invest that wall early, it loses a lot of value. The longer you hold on to it, the more wealth it will accrue. And now you're on that broken buy, you're not going to be aggressive, you don't go for the early picks. If you're the defense, and even with the way that Bazooka is playing this, it's not really an aggressive defensive composition. This is all about waiting for LigerTake to come to you.
They're pushing out aggressive, though, regardless, Moxie. Trying to just creep through market right now. 2 players already. Smokes do come down pretty early here, but that's not going to stop LigerTake from just rushing onto the site. They should know the one player back site too. And while this flank has gotten 1 pick, site control has gone over a completely split retake here. 1 player from each angle right now for the defending team. Already the Phoenix spotted. Right clicks. Classic. Very strong still. Gonna upgrade to the Ghost there and just go for the stick onto the defuse right now. Do pros fake is the question. The answer is no, but Zunga's gonna pay for it.
Oof. LigerTake able to get the bullets just a little bit faster than Bazooka wanted. The Sage Roll did come through, but it didn't seem to block off the members that you wanted on that attacking side. And now we're gonna see. They didn't go for that force buy. They didn't opt into what we're seeing a lot of teams on the second round now do, try and push up with a Marshall and have that threat still be there on the defense. Now you're going to be coming in with actual weaponry, Zunga on the Judge, going to be hiding in Hooker, hoping that someone from LigerTake tries to move through that. But LigerTake, anticipating that B isn't where they want to be, they're going to go for A. This is the first time they've done this, and the Sage Wall isn't going to be there to stop them.
So unfortunate for Zunga. Just on the wrong side of the map. 50-50 on those guesses as to where they're pushing, but 0 on the coin flips thus far for where that wall is. John is going to get flashed and easily eliminated by Frigilitos. The running back does get eliminated, and control of showers will go over to RPG Spot. Good lurk up there. Well, not really a lurk. Good push up there, realistically. Already 3 for Frigilitos. Zungo upgrade to the Vandal, but not much health. Even with the heal coming on, it ticks up so slowly. And it was never going to be enough for Zungo to win that round. 3-0. Great start for LigerTake in this series.
This is a problem that we're going to see continuously through the series. It doesn't matter when we see the roles swap. Bazooka are running a composition that is very dependent on figuring out where LigerTake are coming from. They need to be in the right spot before LigerTake are actually able to move in with that spike. Because the Sage, you want to be there with the slope. The Reyna can try and initiate, absolutely, but you don't really have anything to go with her to try and pressure out. And Bind is not one of those maps like Haven where you can just push aggressively through somewhere like mid with Arena, even though Empress is up.
Oh, already a rough start too for the defending team. The hot hands there. Oh, spotted! Ah, cheeky little Sage while Zunger dances around it and gets one pick, but only one will be allotted to the defending Sage. This is more or less a light buy and eco for the defense, so it was always going to be difficult for them to win this round. 2 guns taken away, but not really much of a hiccup here for LigerTake. They are still on a roll.
Yeah, we're seeing why that cipher is always put into compositions. You need that information, and Bazooka are just running a little bit blind without it. They've got to flip the coin, roll the dice, and hope that they're on the right spot that LigerTake are going to try and move in. It's not Haven, so neither of these points will be completely abandoned. And we're seeing Bazooka go a little bit more conservative than before. We've even got a presence in a Heaven. It won't be with an Operator or a Marshal, though, so even though you do have that high ground, it's not that massive level of threat that will make LigerTake immediately think twice.
You're gonna have to be very on the ball when it comes to hitting your shots from a position like that with a rifle. But for the first time this series, LigerTake on the 5th round here, split across the map, going for a bit of a default, but already a hard hit, and Fancy's the only one hitting shots today when it comes to those long-range engagements. Porty Spice will be able to cover for Frigilitos, and this is not an open, clear take onto that A site, and defender rotations have been drawn over. It was all a bait. The spike is over at B getting planted.
It was a big old ruse. And now it's going to be an absolute race for Bazooka to try and get in. Ubergun will be coming in with the Empress. Got a Vandal, so that's a lot of damage, and that's already Empress duration increased again. Location has been revealed, and LigerTake still have a presence at the back of this point.
Certainly a winnable situation here as LigerTake need to put a round on the board. 3 versus 3. Empress out, but they need to push in with it. And they've gotten onto the site. They haven't cleared elbow yet. That 1v1 needs to be won, and Zunger is not going to be able to do it. Instead, Eric comes around from Garden, shuts it down, and a glimmer of hope snuffed out for Bazooka there as LigerTake maintain their flawless streak.
Oof, and the economy is just not looking even right now either. Even if Bazooka are able to win one of these rounds, LigerTake, because they're already 5 points ahead, have trust funds to their names right now, and the defense have not been able to grant access to the Marshal, to the Operator yet. We're even seeing John on light armor. It will be the Phoenix, so you do have a little bit of self-sustain with things like hot hands. Zinger is setting up a wall already, and again invested early in anticipation of an A site. In fact, Slow Orb going to be invested in showers as well, and LigerTake, they're halfway across the other side of the map.
And for them, it's just a clean, clinical creep up towards that B site. Owl Drone clears out Hookah. Smoke comes out, but Phoenix can flash through those and get onto the site regardless. Going toward the back site too. Doesn't even need to take out Lemonade though. That'll get he'll get felled by the Sova playing from Hooker, and things are only getting worse and worse. Judge at close range, but Zunger can't get it done. Eric with the cover, and now it's all down to Porty Spice. Honestly, a save is more than recommended here. It is necessary considering the economy. He'll get spotted though. Porty Spice, he wants to at least get an exit kill if he can. But no, he's gonna bounce now.
It's dangerous though, because now you've revealed your position, and there is a full team of LigerTake about to come hunting you down. Recon Bolt. Going to come through. They're hunting for this Omen. They
he's
don't
done.
want to give him the Vandal.
He's done. Wrap it up. No vandals allowed here. Oh, the skin's stolen and everything? Oh, no, okay. Fancy's at least giving
This is
him
the
that
ultimate
one,
BM. It's like you take their weapon, then you just chuck it right back on their corpse because, nah, it's not good enough for you.
You know what? My gun's been working better for me. And I mean, honestly, you look at LigerTake right now. They are just so clean. I mean, these executes have been patient and controlled. They know exactly what they want to do right here. And this, Moxie, I know you like Sage, but I gotta be honest, it hasn't been working that well. And to judge every round is interesting for the economy.
Zunga already used the Sage roll on A shot as well, so that is gone. Even if you play for recontest, Lord will come down. It's buying a lot of time for Bazooka to actually get this rotation through from B. And LigerTake are pushing this. So if Bazooka move in fast, they should be able to keep all of their space covered and eject LigerTake before they can properly come in. But the problem is, LigerTake have just been bullying. Bazooka have used so much utility, and now this spike can just move its way to B, and because Bazooka invested so much in holding on to A, they're going to have nothing for this recontest.
An early rotate does come out from Uber right here, but it's just a ghost for this Reyna right now. Flashes are available. You can look for the early disruption onto the site if you want to get a little bit feisty with it. And it seems Uber does. Can't quite pick up the gun. Flash will cover him, but not for very long. John does have the Spectre and will be able to do some damage, but only some, as that spike is still going to get planted and the round's still going to go to LigerTake.
Bazooka need to stop using so much so early. Because we're seeing LigerTake just make noise and absolutely spook Bazooka into dropping everything, including the kitchen sink, when it comes to those utilities. And the second that LigerTake sees what's gone on to defending one point, they just skip their way over to the other side of the map. Bazooka will have the res, they will have to run it back. That's a lot of information when you let decipher that is something that you absolutely need to use for information, but Zunga once again, a very early wall planned out on the same place in A short. Yes, it blocks off A point, but you don't have the members left to hold down B.
Moxie, just think of it this way. If you keep banging your head into the wall, eventually the wall will break here. Although I guess the wall's getting put up, so that's maybe not that's maybe not the best analogy here. Don't need an analogy for how clean this take is already. Run it back will spot the one Brim hiding behind the box. Getting taken out by Yanthrax up on a different box. Already B control has gone over firmly to the attacking team. This retake is dicey. Retaking B in general is pretty difficult. Still one player over in elbow. This is a very winnable situation in theory here, especially if the Hunter's Fury can be avoided. Yanthrax pretty low. Neural Theft's not going to get a ton of value, at least at the start here. Uber does go down early, though, and that's not a great start. The just funnel out of the backside doesn't quite work out. For the defending team, for Bazooka and LigerTake, flawless. Yeah, that's an apt word for it, game.
They did use a lot of utility, though, and for Bazooka, you just need a point. One single point, and then you have that immediate advantage on the defense, right? The second you get the powerful weaponry, you get access to the poke. You're the one in control of these fights, and you can funnel LigerTake into moving on to these points rather than yourself being funneled about. Zunga once again going to be on A short. LigerTake will be trying to push it, but again, this could very easily just be them trying to bait out all of that utility. Sage wall already down. Yeah, in fact, it's control of showers, and now you can absolutely push on to this point.
Slow orbs are available, but it doesn't seem that they quite hit the mark there. A flash not gonna... Oh, no, it actually did catch Lemonade. Oh, I thought they were able to get away from it, but not quite the case here. Uber's able to sneak out Heaven and will grab the one with a nice flick onto RPG's spot, but now it's dicey. Not much control of the actual site, and a player coming around behind from Heaven too. That being said, it's getting a little bit bloody here. 2v2, winnable, especially when Zunga is able to take out Eric. Now it's just a one player all alone in Heaven. Not in a spot where you can actually reliably go for this defuse, but you can still reliably hit those shots.
You can reliably hit the res
It's all a bait, but you gotta be able to take him down. Not gonna happen. Not an ace despite 5 kills, but a clutch regardless for free Toledo's.
The res was there. The Phoenix dies twice. Because the res is there, and you absolutely invest that res at that point. You need the points, you need the money, you need the weaponry. But unfortunately, you just weren't able to split yourself up in time because the res animation, it takes a very long time, and that's why sometimes they just really just save their wall to keep themselves safe to actually use it. Not just to keep themselves alive, but the person that they res back in. However, if you're a bazooka, you try to cripple a little bit of LigerTake's economy, and it's a little bit of a ripple, but that ripple can very quickly become a tsunami when you have that defensive side favor.
Right now, I mean, tsunami is an apt word to describe LigerTake in this game. They are 9-0 thus far on their attack. They are shaping up very nicely. And if this round doesn't go over to the defending team, if John can't work a miracle, this will get rough. Yanthrax taking out Lemonade, and John stuck in the corner there will try to flash himself to safety. Uber will at least be able to trade him 1-for-1, but then he gets collapsed on himself. Sage and the Omen coming from the back here, trying to go for the bait as if they were running around toward long. Paranoia does catch one, but even if, or actually, I don't even think it hit RPG spot there, but even if it did, nearsighted wouldn't have been enough there in Hookah. Now it's all down to Porty Spice, all alone here. Just a 1v1 now as he takes out Free Jalitos.
Yeah,
Went to
Fox
fake
Alexis
teleport, I
went-
believe, there, but can't quite happen. Good
doesn't
work from
even need it.
Yanthrax.
Porty Spice used so much as well, trying to just get through Hooker, and it took you such a long time. Even if you're Yanthrax, you just bully him. The fact that he's standing in Hooker, the fact that he's on that countdown, Jet can literally just delay that fight for as long as you possibly want, and we're creeping towards that match point, Paul. Bazooka need to get 1 point, need to start getting access to the weaponry, but again, this is a broken by a Bulldog light armor coming out from this team, and LigerTake can sense the blood in the water. They know they can move in with a full team of rifles, and there's nothing that Bazooka can really do to punish them.
And it's times like these where I really just want to see defending teams try to like send it, right? Just stack a site and run at them. What do you got to lose at this point? But Uber is all alone on the B site instead here. From the shadows, gonna go deep into elbow, I presume. Yep, gonna clear that out, get control, and cut off these defender rotations. Fancy in such a strong spot already. This is so difficult. As if it wasn't already difficult enough for Bazooka here.
They are trying to contest this. They're coming for the teleporter. They want to wrap around and Hooker, but they've been spotted out, and you need to press in at the same time as Zunga moves through back. Otherwise, you are just going to be feeding yourselves right into the chainsaws.
Flashes, shock darts, crossfires. It's all going wrong right now for Bazooka. It's all so difficult. Lemonade was never going to be able to make that 1v5 happen. 11-0. This is shaping up to be a rather quick match of Valorant, Moxie.
It is. It really is. And for Bazooka, it's such a shame that it's not a best of 3, right? Because you're seeing what LigerTake are coming in with. This is a very aggressive team.
Yeah.
And if it was a best of 3, you'd be able to change up your composition. You'd be able to swap something up. Maybe swap the Sage out for something like a Cypher, because this is a composition that thrives on slowing people down.
For sure.
But LigerTake moving in so quickly that Bazooka don't really get a chance to try and slow them down.
And Bazooka, they're down a player as well. Their captain is unavailable today. It's John stepping. Well, John, I believe, is on the team normally, but will be acting captain for today. So you're playing with that one sub, that one fill, presumably here, if you are Bazooka. So that already makes things even more difficult. At least an opening pick there. This is a little spicy, but his name is Porty Spice. So what do you expect out of him? That headshot at least sets up Lemonade for that traded frag. John with the Odin. This is I always feel like the Odin is a weapon of desperation, if you know what I mean, Mark. I mean, you're down by a lot, you pull out the Odin, you hope it goes burr, but instead John just goes to spawn here. The orbital strike is available. If that got thrown into U-Haul, that would actually be very powerful. Instead, it's going on to the spike. I don't know if that was the optimal place for it there, as Lemonade will now be all alone. Knows where the Sova is going to be able to take out the... Never mind. I was going to say take out the Omen on the TP, but 1 health keeps Fancy from the grave.
You could see what they were thinking. You go for the spike, you try and spook LigerTake away from it so you can set Ubergood up to go in on that Reyna. You had a pick, use that, channel it into one of those fades, channel that into another pick, become the snowball that Green are destined to be. But unfortunately, the orbital strike hits and everyone's just standing in lamps. Sides have
Yep.
actually sides haven't swapped yet. This is
No, they have in
going
fact.
to be.
Yeah, no,
They
it's
have in fact. It's just that
yeah.
the colors
The
haven't.
new colors, the patch did some funny stuff with the new colors, but it
I was
is.
gonna say I can count this should be side swap, right? We're on another
I
pistol
can count
round, and
12
so-
when it says 12 on the screen, right? No, it is going to be a side swap here. We are going on to the pistol, and nothing short of perfection is what's needed here from Bazooka if they want to bring this back. At least a good start.
That's two good starts.
Two good starts there. They actually get pretty much control of the A site. It's just RPG Spot all alone with that frenzy of Flash. He's going to keep him at bay, too. He'll get spotted. If they can get rid of him here, they can easily take control. That wall is actually kind of bad for John here. Split off, nobody's going to be able to refrag onto that now. And while the wall does make it difficult, especially on a pistol round, to recontest here, I believe that is going to have to be worth it. One will get spotted. Oh, the recon dart baited the members of the defending team there into thinking it was just Zunger, but hiding around the corner was Porty Spice classic.
Okay, I'm gonna defend Zunga's honor here. Sage main, well, previous Sage main to Sage main, that was a good wall. Sometimes you just throw the Phoenix to the wolves and wall up so that you can actually get that spike planted safely.
Here.
The classic pizza slice.
Exactly.
A tale as old as Bind itself.
For the greater good, Paul. For the greater good. I mean, you've got 4 teammates. 4 of them can be great cannon fodder. It's RPG Spot's trying to set up one of those recon bolts. Figure out.
That's how you play Sage, Moxie? I'm glad we don't keep up together, man. Jeez.
No.
That is ruthless.
From
Heal.
time to time,
So much for
maybe.
being a
They were out
healer,
of
am I
position,
right?
and they were out of position, and there's nothing that I can do to save them from that, as Bazooka are looking to save themselves.
Okay, well,
In
Bazooka
this series. It won't be a
Bazooka
first hit,
should
though.
have spotted that Yanthrax has a shotgun here. So walking blind into hookah would be inadvisable. You know he's got the shorty. Oh, but the Flash will at least cover Uber there for those 2 kills there. And you have to wonder, the defense, they're in a worst case scenario here. They know more players are towards that A site, but if they don't go B, the spike could just go through the teleporter right now. Instead, they're all rotating to A, and Smokes will cover the plant here. Not much control. Once again, it's that pizza slice coming down. Just the wall off and plant strategy from Bazooka. Not a strong control over U-Haul, but a very strong position up in short, and good stacks too to help cover each other. Porty Spice will start it off, even catches the Phoenix, barely sees the elbow there. Coming out of that flash, an RPG Spot with only 20 health was never going to make that happen.
Bazooka are looking much cleaner on the attack. Because they use that wall once again to get the spike planted, but it also forces LigerTake. The only way that they can get to that spike to try and contest it is through lamps. So Bazooka, what they do is they entirely rinse their hands of lamps and instead move to the entrance and exit of it. So they can just catch LigerTake as they move through because they know exactly where that defensive team is going to be popping out from. And then, surprise, there's a couple of bullets to greet you.
This third round does get tricky, though, where most teams would go for a bonus round here. Because 12 rounds were lost on the defense for Bazooka, they are not afforded that luxury. Instead, they're going to have to buy up Odins, rifles, anything they can get their hands on to keep the momentum in their favor, as they have to still win every single round to bring this back. Jet and Cypher over on the B site. Lot of information here for the Cypher. The camera going to spot out that this take is coming towards B. Yanthrax going to dodge away from one right into another, but gets the pick regardless. Will get taken out eventually here, and the defending team isn't actually convinced that they need to move over towards that B site. A wall going to go into elbow there. Good work there from Zunger. Love that wall, as they hadn't been able to take control, and now the defenders are funneled through the back of the site.
Blaze will set up as well. Eric's going to be waiting for Bazooka to try and move through it. Bazooka's just holding the cool. is able to hit the shots as well, and this is where we can see Bazookas start to come back. It is just a single Sova. He's got 2 shock darts.
Oh,
But he's first got to contest Hooker as well.
Does spot the Omen there. A smoke is going to make this even more difficult for RPG Spot. And it seems like he's actually just going to go for the save here. Knows that if he just walks out blindly from the smoke, he's undoubtedly going to get taken down. Just going to back on out, keep the Phantom in his hands. But that's a 3-0 on the half at least for Bazooka. A long, long way to go though, Mox.
And it's strange as well that we see a lot of teams really favor that defensive side, because that's where everyone acknowledges Valorant has that defensive favoritism. But Bazooka are looking a lot stronger on the attack, and you've got to ask yourself, what would have happened if the sides had started off differently, if we'd got to see the attacking Sage rather than the defensive as, oh. This is why defense is favored, Paul. The second you get a sniper, you get to lock down one of these points entirely.
It is just a Marshall, though, right?
It is
it's
a
not
Marshall,
quite
but
it's not the operator, right? It's not quite powerful. You need to hit a headshot at this point to make anything happen. RPG Spot still having that Phantom, though, is going to be doing just fine. That Lear will actually not force Fancy off the angle. I don't believe he got blinded by that one. Oh, he's trying. He's looking for it. Some body shots coming out from Fancy. But nothing more than that. Nice work from Yanthrax, though, and that's going to be an upgrade. All of a sudden, Bazooka's chance is looking so dire as they don't even have control of lamps. Coming back in, Yanthrax peeking out. Despite the hot hands there, will still get that pick. And yeah, there's a Molly, slow orbs available, but Yanthrax is just going to go for the swing. All alone, though, Yanthrax will get punished, and no more real guns are available. It just comes down to Zunker, though, all alone and spotted by the recon dart. Took a couple of rounds, but ultimately, it'll still be LigerTake with still a very strong map here to round out the regular season and set themselves up nicely to most likely head to the playoffs.
It may not have been an operator, but it's still enough of a threat for you to occupy heaven. And the second that Bazooka identified that that was a sniper, even if it was a Marshall, they had to move in so quickly because they didn't want to lose the Sage before that utility had been set in place. And so they put the wall in a little bit too early. It's not the pizza slice that they were looking for. They don't get that same control of the entire space because they're always having to worry about when you cross from where the spike is planted over towards the exit of lamps, you are exposing yourself to the Marshall. And they did try and smoke A heaven. They were able to do it for a couple of times, but those smokes evaporated and Fancy still got to fire shots.
And honestly, I want to come back to what you were saying earlier about how it's a little bit of a shame that it's not a best of 3 in the regular season, because I really do think it was kind of a compositional difference, right? You could see once you got onto the attack that Bazooka are not just a team to roll over. You know, they're still they were putting up some really good rounds, and they had a good set attacking strategy. Maybe not the same depth of playbook that I would have liked to have seen, as they were often going for that you know, pizza slice on the A site there, but they still look pretty clean on their few attacking rounds. And I think, you know, if you sub out the Brimstone, sub out the Sage for some more standard picks there, even that last round could have gone differently, right? Brimstone not able to smoke heaven as effectively, as you have to be so much closer to do so on Brimstone. Whereas if, you know, you were, well, I guess they also had an Omen, so they could have smoked that off too, as they were doing the double smokes now that I think about it. But the Sage also, like you were saying earlier on their defense, the walls consistently on A short weren't accomplishing much. The wall in general is in a pretty rough spot right now, I think, with the fact that if somebody's looking at it, it's easily destroyed. And if somebody's not looking at it, then, you know,
it's wasted.
You don't, then it's wasted, right? There's nobody contesting that angle in the first place. So it's a rough spot. We are going to head to a quick break here. We're going to bring Fancy in for an interview from the winning team, but don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everybody, from the break as we had a rather quick game of Valorant with LigerTake taking a 13-3 victory over Bazooka. Now with us, we have one of the victors. Fancy is joining us. How are you feeling after that win?
I'm feeling pretty good. The first half was quick. We got a little overconfident when we went into the defending side, and I was really impressed with Roblox. They definitely gave us a good fight on their attacking side. But overall, I'm pretty happy with how we did. We practiced, and Bind is probably now one of our stronger maps because of it.
Okay, so you say that you practiced, but I think you, as well as both of us, at least here on the caster desk, were extremely surprised by the composition that you actually had to run against today. How did you deal with Sage being on the table?
Yeah, great question. Uh, I always yell at people to try and break the wall as soon as possible. So that was kind of my first priority because I don't want to be held back. There were a few times where we only broke one of the one of the blocks, and I was really upset that we only had 1 point of entry. But I tried to focus on. Well, I actually don't call for attacking side, so don't quote me on this. But I think we tried to go for B as much as possible because we knew that Sage would be playing on A, and those slows are just deadly when you're trying to get out of A mid and showers. Um, Her res didn't come out that often. I think we only saw it twice, so we didn't really have to play around that. But I mean, as always, a heal is a heal, and it means we have to do more damage. So it was definitely a tough cookie to play against.
So your strategy was just straight up avoid the sage. Like, hey, we see that there. We're not too much a fan. Let's just find out where the sage is and go elsewhere then. That's very interesting take considering most people don't necessarily look at Sage as much of a threat, but I like the respect coming out of you guys there. I want to talk about what you actually just mentioned a little bit. So you said you don't call for the or for your attacking side. So give us a little bit of insight into the communication structure of your team then. Does that switch up?
Oh yeah. So I, when we say that I'm the captain, I'm just the dude that organized it.
Okay.
So Eric is our shot caller. I'm
Sure.
too toxic to actually call strats. So um, Eric is our shot caller. He gives us beginning of the round strats. We go for it, and then just throughout the game, people just start yelling. I don't think we have a proper IGL,
Okay, fair
but
enough.
Eric is the closest thing that we have to getting a strat. And then on CT side, it tends to be that I kind of just give the beginning of the round prep talk, which is usually just like you see something, fall back, we'll play retakes together. Um, but yeah, we have a really weird communication structure on the team.
Hey, if it works, it
Yeah, if it
works.
ain't broke, right?
Yeah, exactly.
And obviously, this was, I think, the last time that we're going to get to see the best of one matches, which means even if it is a scoreline of 13-3, it's still going to be a little bit more of Valorant. How are you and the team preparing for having that exhausting drain of time?
I don't think any of us are even thinking about that because this is the first time that you've put it in my mind. Now that you mention it, I'm really not looking forward to it. I remember back in the collegiate days when I would just dread the 2-1 or where you'd be 1-1 and you're like, I really just don't want to play another game. Um, but yeah, just gonna get my Mountain Dew ready and hope that I can stay awake.
Got to keep that energy up. Got to keep the motivation going on throughout the series. Well, thank you so much
Yeah.
for joining us
Mhm.
here. And once again, congrats on the win. Before we let you get out of here, Fancy, anybody you want to shout out, your team, your org, anybody in your
Yeah.
life, just who are you giving props to today?
Definitely our team. We did a good job. Frijolitos really came on strong, and I'd like to thank Taco Bell for helping me fill in this shirt. If you want to sponsor us, please send us shirts. I love you, and buy Intel.
All right. Well, thank you so much for joining us here, Fancy. Bit of the sponsor beg at the end there. I love that. All right. Well, I think that's gonna be it here for us today here, Moxie. We're going into playoffs pretty soon. I'm excited for that.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit of a short one today, but like we pointed
Yeah.
out, it's not going to be short games of Valorant in the coming weeks, even if it is a scoreline of that 13-3 or 13-0, we're still going to have multiple of them. And I'm really looking forward to seeing how teams come in and handle that first game, whether they sort of use it as information seeking points if they are on that losers side and they come back in on that second match with entirely different composition swaps that are based around hitting the weak
Sure.
points or trying to tame the stronger points of their opponents, or whether or not they're just going to keep running what they ran on that first map.
Well, and I mean, it's only going to be the best of the best teams that we have too in the Corporate Esports Association hitting up the playoffs, I should say, because that's it, folks. I mean, the regular season is done. Playoffs around the corner, though. Make sure you're following right here on this Twitch channel and also over on Twitter, the Corporate Esports Association. Make sure you get all of the information, all of the action, so you can tune on back in and maybe even get your company, your team involved if you aren't already. That'll be it for this week. Thank you all so much, and we'll see you soon for playoffs.